and welcome into the show, Clear Picture Financial. Good morning, good weekend, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're partaking of this particular broadcast. I'm Jackie Selby, your consumer advocate, and I'm here with the one, the only. It's Jason Noble in downtown Charleston. I see you have a new office. I can kind of see out the window how downtown you really are, Jason.
We're excited to be here.
Good for you. And I know that you have a lot going on in your world, not just moving offices, but earlier in the week you had your wedding anniversary, which is kind of a big deal. 14 years. Congratulations.
Yes, Rachel and I just celebrated 14 years happily married, and I'm so blessed. She is my rock, and she's always in my corner. She's my biggest advocate, and I support her in all that she does. I just, I'm blessed, just absolutely blessed.
And you guys are doing your part by contributing to the world and having a couple of wonderful children.
Well, yeah. So we have a 9-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, and they started school earlier this week. So, they are wonderful, but getting them out of bed ready for school, that's an interesting way to start a day.
Yeah, it is. I guess you could go in there with a bullhorn. Kind of like you do it in a much gentler way when you talk to people about their retirement planning, because you have a certified financial planning designation and so many other things, including your Advisor Hub top advisors to watch in 2023. Of 100 advisors, they put you in the top 5, and you're the only guy in South Carolina. So you really go in there with a bullhorn in a way by helping people plan for their retirement. And if they're making a mistake within their plan, then you're there to help them out. I mean, the Hollywood people always come to light, and we've been seeing some stuff in the media lately about people going broke in Hollywood. Well, it's always been there, hasn't it? There's so many people who've had trouble, but with your expertise, let's attack a few of these things, because there are horror stories from Hollywood, celebrities, families getting caught up, James Gandolfini and the whole thing, so many celebrities. But how about failing to have a tax plan? Tell people why this is bad.
Yeah, so a big mistake that folks make really is failing to have a plan at all for their taxes. And
right.
And I think there's a lot of misconceptions that you can't do anything about it. Because I understand taxes can be complicated, and celebrities have, they have that income from various sources, including endorsement deals or royalties or investments as well. Well, failing to plan for taxes can really result in large penalties and fees. And we got Wesley Snipes to kind of look to.
Yeah, or 3 years in prison. Yeah, thanks
right?
to Wesley Snipes, the poor guy.
But then I kind of go into well, how can an advisor help with this? And as a certified financial planner, we go through a whole course on taxes alone. And so what I do is I work with my clients, their accountants or their CPAs, whoever that they're entrusted into their taxes, and we build out a plan together, and we have that strategy to ensure all the necessary tax documents not just are filed on a timely basis, but we have a tax plan going into the next year. And I have sophisticated tools and resources that I've shared with my clients' accountants, and they were blown away.
I'm like, how do you know that, mister?
But that I was able to not just show these accountants the things that I was looking at doing with advanced tax planning, especially with the Tax Cut and Job Act expiring at the end of 2025.
Oh my gosh, are they going to amend that, Jason?
Let me get that crystal ball out, but let me say it this way, Jackie. I don't see how politicians don't parlay that into a bigger tax reform. I don't think they're going to go back to just what the tax code was when the Tax Cut and Job Act expires, that's what it's supposed to do. But, with all the government printing and high inflation and a lot of stuff that's just going on, as we all know. I call it stuff, right? I'm trying to be PC on the radio here, but what I'm going to get into is I don't see how that doesn't get reformed. And I know we're going to talk about this in a moment, but this is also impacting the estate plan.
Exactly. I was trying to look at my paperwork and try to figure out how many hours of training that you had for that for that one certification, it's a heck of a lot of in the certified financial planner and the retirement income certified professional. I mean, I'm looking at my paper going, how many hours did that poor man study?
I think the recommended for the CFP and RICB combined, I haven't looked at it. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's close to 350 hours, 400 hours between the two.
Man.
And then like you have to do what's called continuing education, as you should be doing. And
it never ends, Jason.
So you're supposed to, for the CFP, do, I want to say like 30 hours. And I got 60 hours logged in last year.
Wow.
Well, because we believe in this office, you have to have a culture of continual learning. And when you're going through continuing education course, you could do it by clicking through and just trying to get through it so you could get the 2 hours, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
Yes.
I go into it with an intention to see if I could learn 1 or 2 things that I could pull away from the training and bring that back to those that I serve. And when you go into the right mindset of training and you get what you that intention of pulling something out, that's what I believe separates me from a lot of other advisors.
You know, intention is a really big buzzword these days. You know, set your intention. So you're sitting there going, I intend to get some new information from this training to help my clients. You've been at this 2 decades now. And it is a lot of training and a lot of continuing education. So I know you can help people. And as you had alluded to, the estate planning stuff. I mean, not just Hollywood types, but your clients. The estate planning is so important.
Yeah, and particularly for folks who come into money young and don't anticipate having to prepare for the worst case scenario on protecting their loved ones from really the financial harm because they anticipate they'll be along for the ride. However, tragedies do occur, and as we've learned in cases of Steve McNair, who passed away, I want to say at 39, and
oh my heavens,
James
that was so tragic, wasn't it?
It's awful,
Yeah, and James Gandolfini was only 51.
That's young. That's young, and I just heard a story from a couple that I've been working with for many years now. There was a person that they were a coworker of theirs, where he was in his early 30s. They never thought he was going to get married. He finally found the one. Baby's on the way. And he passes away in the middle of the night at 32 years old.
Huh.
And it was just a freak thing that happened. But this is the hard part of my job is I always incorporate estate planning into every core values meeting and conversation to make sure that what you want to have done with your assets is actually written into your will or trust, your estate plan, to make sure that it actually goes through. And this is where an advisor could really help is I can't create a will or a trust. I'm not a lawyer. Okay.
Well, that'd be conflict of interest now, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. But I could go into the pros and cons of a will-based plan or a trust-based plan. And if you're very sophisticated financial needs, we could get into the cruts and the crats and all those eyelets and all those fun stuff that kind of gets geeky on it. But I was talking to a judge, and his wife is from another country, and their estate plan. He goes, "No, we got a really well written estate plan by a great attorney." I said, "Great. Do you have a Q dot attached to it?" He goes, "What did you say to me?" I was like, "It's a Q dot, qualified domestic order trust."
What did you say to me?
Right? And he goes, "Well, I don't know. You take a look at it. There was no Q dot." What I'm saying is if you're married and your spouse is not from the United States and they haven't become a citizen for one reason or another, if you don't have a qualified domestic order trust or something in place, it could create a lot of tax liability and tax drag on the situation. So, I mean, now my job is to identify the opportunity, but then I said, let's get the lawyers involved to make sure what I'm talking with you about is accurate. So if you're driving right now or you're watching me on YouTube and you're like, well, I'm married and I got this and I need to get a Q dot, no. What you do need to do is set up a conversation with me, and then we could then bring in a qualified attorney that I vetted to make sure that they're going to be able to help you. So don't take anything I'm saying on taxes or on estate planning and go, well, Jason said this on the radio to all the people listening to him, obviously speaking to me specifically on this. But this is where people schedule the meeting so we can have the one-on-one conversations and not hear me speak about generalities, but specifics into their particular financial situation.
Understood. And I'm sure you say to people, who is your attorney? Don't you? Instead of, do you have an attorney? Who is your attorney? Because that does kind of move them off the mark, doesn't it? Because that kind of slaps them in the face. Oh, you mean I need someone? Because you can't put that off.
Well, I ask them, like, who is your attorney? I ask them, who's your accountant? Because I may know them. I may know them.
Right.
And then if they say, I don't have one, okay, would you want help with that?
Yeah.
I'm sure one day someone's going to say no. But at this point, no one has ever said no to that. Because I know how to interview accountants. I know how to have conversations with attorneys. It's part of my job. And I also know what to look for to determine if a lawyer is a jack of all trades or if they truly are a qualified attorney in the area of elder care law and estate planning. You don't want a person who's a jack of all trades where they're trying a DOI case and then jumping into an estate planning probate case. And if you're out there listening, you're that kind of lawyer. It's just like, I'm not throwing shade at you.
It's no offense.
You're trying to make a living, but I would not be able to, in confidence, introduce a client to an attorney that has that kind of practice, unless they're very rural. Like if you're in Idaho and you're in a rural community, because I have clients in 24 states.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, some of my clients have to work with an attorney that is also a veterinarian in some parts of our country. What am I going to say to that? But if you're listening to this and you're in Charleston or if you're in a major market area, yeah, we're going to get you in touch with someone who specializes in that type of law.